Hey house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 21 updates and spoilers. Our house guest of the day is Kathleen Sasierski. Thank you so much for the support. We could not do this without you, so we really do appreciate it, and we think you're awesome. So thanks again, and if you guys want to be house guest of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. Alright, so when we left off yesterday, Sam was trying to get the votes together to keep Kemi this week. Now you need 6 votes to stay. And this campaigning was all brought about once he found out from Bella that he is number 9 in an 8-person alliance. Yeah, so he's not in it. That was a big shock to him, and I think it was really a huge wake-up call for him that he needs to get some stuff going here, or he's going to get picked off with the other bottom feeders. So he was planning on talking to Nicole, Nick, Bella, Cliff, Christy, and Tommy. So that would make 7 votes with himself included. So even if one of those people said no, he could still potentially make it happen here. Alright, so it seemed like people were into flipping it until Holly and Sis found out. He made the mistake of going to Jack and basically asking permission, and then Jack told the girls and they were like, no. They squashed it pretty quickly because they don't want to give Nick and Bella the chance to build up a new alliance to take them out. And they're already pissed at Nick because he keeps mentioning them to Nicole as possible nominees if she wins HOH. So they're like, why the hell is our ally suggesting us to go up on the block? It doesn't make sense. So we also saw that Nicole has been reporting back to them and telling them what's going on with Nick. So with all that going on, Jack says Grateful is dead. Grateful dead. But he's only concerned about 6 shooters now. Okay, so Kemi asks Jack to talk. This is a conversation that she was planning. I mentioned it, I guess it was in yesterday's spoiler. I think it was in yesterday's. So she said that she wants to figure out what really caused the rift between them. You know, why has there been this weirdness since the beginning? What caused this? So she's asking Jack to talk, and Jack's like, okay, cool. I hope you don't mind if Tommy joins us in the HOH room, because he wants like a third-party witness there, so that nothing can get misconstrued, because he says whenever the two of them talk, people tend to get really excited about it and crazy stuff happens. Are you like serious right now? So anyway, she's like, fine, whatever. So Kemi says, I want to figure out how this all started. And Jack says, all right, I can tell you exactly what happened. He says that he heard through the grapevine after the first few days of like food prep and hanging out that she told someone that Jackson and himself were safe because they made food for everyone. So he's like, you were basically saying that I'm cocky and I thought I was safe just because I made food. Is that seriously what this is all about? Because that is so dumb. Oh my god. So Kemi says, yes, I definitely remember saying that. She said it was a lighthearted comment. It wasn't meant to be negative. How was I supposed to know if you were actually cocky or not? Like, I didn't even know you at that point. And Jack says, exactly. He put Kemi on his list because she had his name in her mouth before they even got to know each other. And in those first few days, there's not really a lot to go off of. So he says there was no reason other than that, you know, it just put a bad taste in his mouth. And then of course, once Kemi heard that he was targeting her, she decided she was gonna have to target him. So it kind of just snowballed after that. So then Kemi asks him, are you still targeting me this week? And Jack says, it's still very much in the air as far as the house goes. She's asking about you, not this mythical beast creature, the house. So he says that Kemi is his biggest competition threat, hands down. Really? Because I feel like there are bigger threats to him, but if that's what you're going with, cool. And he says Jess is also a huge threat to some people that he cares about, aka penises. So he says it's going to be a last-minute decision. He considers both of them to be major threats to him. So then Kemi says again, you know, if I were to stay and win HOH, I've already told you that I wouldn't put you up on the block, and I'm gonna honor that, you know? I am not the type of person to go back on that kind of thing. So she says, in that case, Jess is a bigger target. I mean, Jess is a bigger threat to your game, because I'm not gonna put you up. So Tommy was pretty much just sitting there the whole time as they were talking, but at this point he's like, wow, you guys have wonderful conversational skills. You're both such straight shooters, and I respect that so much. And that was like pretty much the end of that conversation. So while that was happening, Christy, Holly, Sis, and Jackson were in the target room. And Jackson is telling them about a conversation that he just had with Nicole. And he says Nicole is really frustrated that certain people, Nick and Bella, are putting words, Holly and Sis's names, in her mouth. And it's really upsetting to her. So hearing this, Sis is just like, I don't even care, I'm gonna say something to Nick. And they all tell her, no, like this is not real life, you cannot confront him about this, that would blow everything up, and we can't have that right now. So Christy says, they're trying to save Kemi now and build up an army. Do they think we're stupid? Is she acting or is she flip-flopping? Because not too long ago, she sounded pretty interested in potentially flipping this vote to save Kemi. But now she's just like, do they think we're dumb? So Jackson is now saying, with all this information coming in, if they win HOH, they should put Nick and Bella up on the block instead of Cliff and Nicole like he had previously planned. You think? I feel like Nick and Bella are much bigger threats than Cliff and Nicole. So Christy says, at the end of the day, I'm gonna do what you guys want to do. I'm gonna tell you what you want to hear. So Sis says that she is so angry that she's getting goosebumps. I almost feel like she has like anger issues. Every time I turn on the feeds now, she's always angry. Have you guys noticed that? But Christy is like, I can't believe the audacity of them trying to flip the votes. So she's then telling them how Sam pitched to Jack that Jess should go, and his reasoning was that Jess would put up guys. And then when they were pitching to her about keeping Kemi, they said that they could use Kemi to take out a big threat. So, you know, they're kind of being crafty with the reasoning that they give to everybody. Duh. So then Jack and Tommy come in. So that means we've got all 6 shooters in one room together. So they discuss that none of them should have any like shady one-on-ones anymore, because Jack was just telling them about how Tommy was up in the HOH with him when he was talking to Kemi, and how you know, possibly Kemi didn't go all out in her speech or pitch to him or whatever because Tommy was there, and they're like, oh yeah, that's great, that's great. And Tommy and Jack both said that Kemi's conversation was dumb. Really? Ugh, okay. But they're like, yeah, let's always have someone else there, but just be careful not to reveal the alliance. Like, you don't have to pull in somebody from our group. It could be anybody. It could be Ovi. All right, so then they all agree that they're still locked in to vote out Kemi this week, and then they start trash talking Nick. Okay, so the hits just keep on coming, because a little while later, Kat reports to Holly that Nick was also suggesting to her that she should put up Holly as a nominee if she wins HOH. So he's like, yeah, you could put up Holly and Jess or Holly and Cliff. Why is Nick being so sloppy? What is he doing? So Kat tells Holly, I have your back. She really shouldn't. I mean, if she could hear the things that Holly and Jackson say about her, it's insane. I can't believe that Kat is working so closely with Holly and Jackson after everything that has happened. It's ridiculous. But seriously, what does Nick think he's doing? He's throwing his own ally under the bus, or allies, because he does mention Holly and Sis from time to time. But he's like posing these hypothetical situations which may never even happen, and he's putting himself in danger. It's insane. So anyway, Jackson and Sis were chatting about how Grateful is pretty much donezo, you know, because they can't trust Nick and Bella anymore. And they're also saying that Christy has a big mouth, and they don't know why she's so loose-lipped with everything. But Kat comes in and she starts cleaning for a few minutes, and then after she leaves, Jackson asks Sis, do you ever have those moments when you're like, why did I have sex with that person? He says that he is so mad at himself for doing that, and he also says, it's the first time that I've ever had sex with someone without kissing them. Twice. Gross! Oh my god, why is he saying these things? So Sis is like, it's in the past. And then she says, at least it was before the feeds came on. And he says, BB can't air it anyway because we didn't kiss on camera. Too late, you idiot. They already did. Just because you make up your own rules doesn't mean that they're real. So Sis isn't sure if her sexcapades are going to be aired. And she's also telling Jackson, oh, you and Holly are going to hook up soon. I can feel it. Blech. And Jackson's like, I don't know if she wants to do that, like with the feeds on or whatever. So then he mentions, like, now he knows that he can cover the HOH shower with 2 towels and they're good to go. Please leave, just please go. But just a quick update on this before I forget later. According to what he said this morning to both Jack and Sis, he was kind of implying that him and Holly hooked up last night. Like in real time last night, not 2 nights ago. Alright, so then, moving on. Jess checked in with Jack, and of course, he brought somebody in to be the third party. This time it was Nicole. So he said, sorry, Jess is saying, I'm not really here to campaign because I don't even know how to campaign. She says she doesn't want to throw anyone under the bus, but she tells Jack there are no hard feelings towards you. I'm not putting you up if I stay and win HOH, and I mean that because if I didn't, I wouldn't be here saying it. Alright. But he says he appreciates that, and he doesn't know exactly how the vote's gonna go, but he thinks that she's in good standing, so, you know, just keep doing what you're doing. I have to say, Jess started off really cryy and crumbly on the block, but she's definitely calmed down over the last few days, and it would have been interesting to see what would have happened if she kept spiraling, but she kept it under control pretty well. So then there was an interesting game chat between Nick and Tommy. Nick was talking about how Sam wants to flip the vote and save Kemi, and he says it's too early to do it. You know, he would only do it if they could get Jack on board and Jack agreeing with it. Lame, but Nick knows that that's not going to happen, so he didn't even bother talking to Jack about it, because Jack knows that it's better for his game to get rid of Kemi. They're not going to be able to convince him otherwise. So Nick is like, whatever, I'm fine with it. It's week 2. Why piss off our alliance? Too late. You've already done that a bunch of times, and they are done with you. So then Tommy is like, okay, well, does Sam know about Grateful? He does. But Nick is like, no, he doesn't. I don't think that Nick realizes that Sam knows, because Bella told him not to tell Nick because then Nick might tell Jack. So I really don't think that Nick realizes that Sam knows. That's crazy. So then Nick starts talking about how he's been planting seeds with Nicole to put up Holly and Kat if she wins HOH. And he's like, yeah, I mean, if we're gonna lose an alliance member, then that sucks, but whatever. Or we could just vote out Kat. So then Tommy's like, I'd be careful about that because God forbid it gets back to Holly that you planted that seed. Tommy knows full well that has definitely gotten back to Holly and Sis, and they are pissed. But he's telling Nick, why even stir the pot when it's just a hypothetical? And Nick says, it's fine, I trust Nicole, and she doesn't talk game with anyone, so like it's not gonna be a problem. It's not gonna get back to them. Oh my. That's hilarious. It's also hilarious that Nick was saying that like things are going really well with Nicole and he has a really great relationship with her, because Nicole's been telling everybody how uncomfortable she is when Nick and Bella are like interrogating her and trying to figure out who she's gonna put up on the block. Alright, so then, speak of the devil, Nicole and Nick have a game chat, and she is trying to secure these votes for Kemi. She's really trying to make it work. She's trying hard. And Nick is saying, we can't flip. some people are too scared to make waves. Yeah, you. Nick is terrified to go against Jack. So he's like, I don't want Jack coming after me. So Nicole says, well, Kemi would not put any of us up, and Jess would maybe put up you and Bella. So it's better for your game to get rid of Jess. And he's like, yeah, but no one other than Jess has said our names yet. So he's like, if we keep Kemi, we're gonna have Jack, Jackson, Holly, and Sis all coming after us. And Nicole asks him, how do you know they're not already like saying our names and coming after us? And Nick says, I just know. I do well enough socially. You have to trust me. You'll see. I talk to everyone. I know a lot. You know nothing, Jon Snow! He freaking wishes he was Jon Snow. Oh my god. No way. But yeah, he is such an idiot. He feels like he's playing such a great game and he has all the information. So Nick says, we just gotta be patient. We can attack after Camp Comeback is over. But for now, he would rather have just one person, Jess, targeting him than 4, the other showmances. So I gotta say, you got a big storm coming. So Bella joins them, and it seems like she still wants Kemi to stay. She's definitely trying to push that. But Nick is all, we shouldn't ruffle feathers. And then Bella says, you know, I just walked into the bathroom where Jack, Sis, and Mickey were, and when I walked in, they stopped talking. That's never a good sign. So Nicole says, in my opinion, it's already evident that there's a rift in the sides. But Nick will not budge. He says he doesn't want to put a target on himself. Woo! Alright. So then, after that, Tommy spills some beans to Jack. He says, I gotta let you know, Christy and I last night were pushed into making a fake alliance with Nick. So he tells him like it was fake on our end, but I guess Nick thinks it's real, and it also involved Bella and Sam, so that makes 5. And Jack says, oof, that's bad. Nick is trying to make moves against me. And Tommy says, well, Nick didn't say like who we'd be going after. I think it's pretty clear, but he just wants us to be like a team. So Tommy's like, it was stupid. Christy and I would never actually do that. He says, I'm obsessed with you. I will continue to prove to you that I want to work with you. Blech. I think Tommy is just kind of like playing up to Jack's ego here because he's trying to play the middle and he wants to make sure that he's good with everybody, but it's still like disgusting to hear. Okay, so anyway, Jack says, well, I want you to know, even with all that sis stuff, I want to make it clear that Christy is my #1. Gulp. Did you forget you're talking to Tommy? So he then adds in, and you're my #1. Ooh, so many slips from Jack lately. So then they talk about all the mistakes Nick is making and how he thinks he's so smart and playing such a great game. Then it's pretty funny. Alright, so just some quick tidbits from last night. Christy pulled Sam aside and told him, I do not want to see Nick and Bella hurt your game. Nick has been throwing out a lot of names. And Sam is like, yeah, well, you know, I guess I'd rather have the house targeting them than me. So it could be kind of a good thing if they're like a shield in front of me. So I wanted to hear more of that, but that conversation was interrupted. Other stuff, Nicole talked to Holly and Sis and Christy again, and she was telling them, I haven't been saying that I would put you up. I haven't said any names. Like, I'm not gonna say anything about that unless I actually win HOH. And they were like, we know, it's okay, we trust you. Nick has been saying that he's got you in the bag. And Nicole then tries to campaign for Kemi to them, and she implies that Kemi would target Nick and Bella, but they don't feel like they can trust Kemi, so it was kind of a fail. And then after the conversation, they all agree they love Nicole, but they all feel like Kemi still needs to go. So Kemi also tried campaigning to Holly, Sis, and Kat individually, but it didn't really change anything. Kemi's in an interesting spot too, because when you're campaigning to like Holly and Sis, you want to be able to say, I'm gonna go after Nick and Bella. But I think she also realizes, like, I'm probably gonna need Nick and Bella's votes. So she doesn't need that getting back to them, and they're just like, what the hell? And they decide they're gonna vote her out. So she's in a tough spot right now. Also, Sam was talking to Nicole, and he told her about Grateful. So he didn't say that Bella told him. I don't think he said the name of it or anything, but he did say that he found out about it because people have been slipping up around him and switching around saying 8 or 9. Jack. That there were 8 or 9 people. So he does name all the names. He says that he is number 9. And Nicole's like, well shit, I'm not even in that at all. So, wow. But Sam says neither of us are targets right now, so we need to just, you know, keep doing what we're doing, stay under the radar. Well, earlier, Tommy and Jack were talking about how dangerous Sam is, and they're kind of hoping he will stay connected to Nick and Bella, because then they'll have an excuse to target him, a reason to put him up on the block. Ouch. Alright. So then Tommy and Christy were checking in with each other, and we finally get a little more insight into what the hell they're doing. Because it was a little bit confusing for a while there with the whole vote flip, if they were into it or not. So they reveal to us, as they're talking to each other, that they're trying to play the middle right now. I guess the middle would be in between Nick, Bella, and Sam on one side, and then Jack, Jackson, Holly, and Sis on the other side. So Christy is planning on telling Nick, Sam, and Bella, you guys need to chill a bit because all of your seed planting is getting back to Holly and Sis, and they're not happy about it. So she wants to make sure things don't get too out of control there. But Tommy also lets Christy know that he did tell Jack about the Flaming Five. And then he also tells Christy that Sam is a bigger target than Nick and Bella. So he tells her, I was discussing with Jack, we could potentially put up Sam and Nick if one of us wins HOH, and then Bella would be the replacement nominee if necessary. Not Sam. Nick and Bella, fine, whatever. But I like Sam. So then Christy says that all of a sudden she feels like she can't trust Nicole anymore because she walked in on her talking to Bella and they were like all cozied up, and I guess when Christy walked in, they stopped talking. Alright, so Jackson was kind of being an a-hole last night. He was talking about potentially keeping Nicole and Cliff in the dark for the vote, and like giving Kemi false hope to see how that information spreads, and to see if Nick, Bella, and Sam would vote out Kemi or Jess, if they thought that, you know, it was possible that Jess could go. So he and Holly also talked to Kat and told her, yo, I don't care what you hear from anybody, you need to vote out Kemi tomorrow. They didn't really need to say much to her because she was on board. I don't understand why Kat is so gung-ho to work with Holly and Jackson. Jackson even suggested maybe you should act like you're voting out Jess if they're really pushing for it. Again, because he wants to see where the votes would fall. I don't think she's actually going to do that, but I just don't get, why is Kat working with these turds? She also called them their group 3-mans, and they were like, I guess so, and they all put their hands in. Gross! So this morning, sweet, sweet Cliff. He gets up early to do his Cliff Notes, his morning monologue in the boat lounge room. And, you know, now people are onto him. They know that he does this. They know it's part of his routine. So Jackson gets up and he goes and listens outside the door for a good, like, half hour or so, I would say. When is Cliff gonna realize? Oh my god. He could be there for, like, weeks and weeks and just giving out all of this information and not even know it. That's so sad. So let me just give you guys some highlights of what Jackson heard this morning. Okay, first of all, this is something that I picked up. Cliff doesn't really know what's going on because he said that yesterday was a quiet day, and it definitely was not. But anyway, he says he was talking about Orwell disappearing, and Jackson learns that there's nothing weird going on with Cliff and Orwell in terms of like Cliff being America's player or like having a task to do or anything like that. He just likes spending time with an icon, and he wants, you know, a couple of screenshots on the internet that he can watch, not watch, but look at after the season's over of him with Orwell. But anyway, Cliff was also saying, personally, he wants Kemi to go this week, but he was also thinking, if Kemi stays, she could win HOH and maybe shake up the Cool Kids Club alliance. So Jackson really got a kick out of that. He was like, Kids Club alliance. Okay, but Cliff would be a little bit worried if Kemi were to win HOH because she might put up Jackson and Holly, and, you know, he's kind of working with them. So Jackson was happy to hear that. But then Cliff was talking about how the vote flip almost went down yesterday. So he talked about how Sam approached him about flipping the vote and how he would maybe, you know, want to do it if the votes were there. He would feel bad going against Jackson and Holly, but if the votes were there, he'd like to shake things up. He says Nicole also approached him about keeping Kemi. And oh my god, Cliff then lists off these 7 potential votes for Kemi to stay. But he said the flip is dead. So then he was talking about how even though it was a flop, he did learn some things from this. He learned, whoa, Sam is looking to kind of shake things up here a little bit. So maybe he could start working with Sam, Nick, and Bella. Or he could, you know, try to get in more with the other showmances with like the Cool Kids Alliance, and Nick and Bella could be the targets. So he's not really sure which direction he wants to go yet. I'm sure a lot is going to have to do with who wins the next HOH, right? So then Cliff was saying, Cliff needs to stop talking about Nicole's game because Nicole is... he's gotta ruin her game. So he says Nicole's a big planner. He's hoping that she can stay under the radar, even though she's playing the game right now more than a lot of people realize. He's also saying that he wants to win this next HOH if he can. You know, he has a couple of different ways he could go again. He could potentially shake things up. I don't think he said who he would put up. I mean, it's implied that he would go after like the cool kids, but he didn't really single anybody out. Or he could play it safe and just target Jess. So Cliff is also saying he doesn't want to be on the wrong side of the vote this week. He's hoping it's going to be unanimous. He's going to talk to Nicole potentially and tell her, like, look, I know you're friends with Kemi, but it'd probably be a good idea for you to vote her out if everybody else is, because you don't want a target on your back. He did think about throwing out a rogue vote to kind of like shake things up, but he realized it's too dangerous because if that does get pinned on him or Nicole, that's gonna suck. Alright, so then that was pretty much all of like the juiciest stuff. So Cliff goes back to bed and Jackson goes to the HOH room to report to Jack and Sis because, yep, Sis slept upstairs last night. Big surprise. Alright, so Jackson starts spilling the new Cliff info, and Jackson has this idea. He wants to tell Cliff that they're voting out Jess, and he says, Cliff will believe me because he wants to work with me. But obviously they're not voting out Jess. He wants to spread this disinformation because he wants to see what Nick, Bella, and Sam would do. But Jack is like, I think we should just stick to the plan. That's a lot. It's kind of like too much too soon. He doesn't want to make too many waves right now because they realize, whoa, we probably shouldn't stir things up yet just in case Nick or Bella win HOH. You know, we don't want to draw that line in the sand until we know who's going to be in power next. Before they were saying that they didn't want to make a big move before Camp Comeback, but I think they're thinking, you know what? We should just make a move next week, even though Camp Comeback's still going to be in play. But they do have to wait and see who wins HOH first. So, of course, Sis is pissed off today, as usual, especially now that she's heard this new Cliff information. She's hearing that her name is being thrown around. But, like, honestly, I don't think Cliff singled her out as the target. She's just assuming that she would be the target. Even when her name is thrown out there, It's never like, I gotta get rid of sis because she's the biggest target or the biggest threat. She's pretty much being mentioned as like a pawn, I'm pretty sure. But she's just like, oh my god, I'm so sick of being the target, especially over Jack and Jackson. Like, I haven't done shit. We know! You've only done Jack. But she's just not getting it. She's not getting it. She's like, I shouldn't have even slept upstairs because it's only in the last few days that I'm being connected to Jack like this. No shit. What do you think is gonna happen when you are attached and sleeping with one of the biggest guys in the house and the current HOH? Everything you do and say is going to be analyzed in this house. Come on. Annalise. Analyzed. So anyway, she even says she wanted to punch Cliff in the face. Damn. So Jackson tells the other 6 shooters about Cliff's notes from today. And yeah, that's kind of circulating around their group. So in other news, Orwell is back. Cliff is very excited about that, but he thinks it's pretty weird that Orwell just like showed up and they didn't have to like do a task or anything to get him back. Yeah, because people hit him. And then, yeah, the eviction is tonight. It looks like Kemi is gonna be going. It's probably gonna be unanimous. Nicole already told Kemi, like, I'm sorry, but I can't, you know, stick my neck out if the votes aren't gonna be there. And Kemi understands that. But, you know, Kemi's not gonna be leaving the house yet. She will be staying in Camp Comeback. Yeah, so that's where we're at. So I wanna know, who are you guys rooting for the next HOH competition? I would like to see someone outside of 6 shooters win. I think it would be pretty interesting if Sam won. I think that could be cool. I would say Nicole, but I also don't want a target on her. Maybe Cliff, because he is already being talked about because of his morning monologues. And also, maybe if he wins HOH, he can do them upstairs and people won't be able to hear them. That would be nice. Yeah, I think Cliff could be interesting, but then I would feel really sad if Cliff won and he just took out like Jess or something. But we'll see what happens. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, and until tomorrow, much love.